Okay, here we have Virginia Greene on her 85th birthday, and I'm going to ask her some questions about her life. Where were you born, and where did you spend your early years growing up?
I was born in Spanishburg, West Virginia, and I spent 18 years growing up there. Went to high school, graduated from Spanishburg High School in '42.
Did you have a football team in high school?
Oh yeah, we had senior class.
What was the team called?
Do what?
What was the name of the team?
It's Spanishburg High School team.
They weren't called the Rams or
No,
the Raiders?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
Okay.
Just the team.
Okay.
What
We
was
had a
it?
basketball, girls basketball team.
Did you play on the girls' basketball team?
I played, but I couldn't hit the baskets.
And
But,
Paula Mildred, didn't she?
yeah, Mildred
She was
and
tall.
So your
Lee and
sister played
they-
basketball on that team?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They graduated from Spanishburg too, both of them. And then had another sister, Goldie. She graduated. We all graduated from there. One brother graduated from there. And Weldon didn't graduate, I don't think. My other brother. And then my other brother went in service.
She talked around the family.
Do what?
Describe your first sweetheart or heartbreak.
Do what?
Describe your first sweetheart or heartbreak.
Your first love or heartbreak?
Oh,
Who broke
dear
your heart
Lord.
for the-
Oh man, oh wow.
Who broke your heart for the very first time?
He really broke it.
was
I haven't
his-
got over with it yet.
What was his name?
Ted.
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 And-
And so I swear I never forgot his last name.
Well, how did you meet Ted?
Through school.
Yeah. Was he
Yeah.
older or younger than you?
We were around the same age.
Yeah.
And we went to the games together and the cakewalks. You know, back then you had cakewalks. And pie suppers and things like that. And I stayed with my sister, and she'd make me a pie, and he'd buy it, and we'd eat it. So yeah, I went with him till I left home, I guess.
Yeah.
Then I left home and went to work.
Where did you go when you left home?
I went to Radford, Virginia, stayed with my brother, and worked in, not the Navy Yard, but what was it?
Powder plant.
Power plant. Worked in the power plant.
So they made powder.
Made powder, made gunpowder.
Oh, you made gunpowder. Was this during the
Oh,
war?
yeah, during the war. About 42, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 42 is when I left home.
What was that? The Civil War?
So how?
Radford,
Shut up. How long did you work at the powder factory?
no longer than I had to, that's for sure.
Was it hard work?
No, it wasn't hard, but it was tedious work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dirty?
Making powder, yeah. Yeah, making gunpowder.
Yeah.
It come out in, it would come out in a great big machine, and they'd press it, and it would come out and cut off, you know, cut off in little things about like that. And what we had to do is to bag it up and all. And that
Were there ever
ether,
any
I smelled
accidents?
that ether from,
Ooh, ether.
yeah, the ether from it, or whatever it was in it.
Yeah.
Turned them all yellow because my sister worked there.
Oh yeah, it's hard on your lungs.
Yeah, I bet. You probably breathed in a lot of fumes and powder.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever have accidents at work? Did any gunpowder ever blow up
No,
or
no,
anything?
no,
nothing like that.
No. It was awful. You know, cautious about things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you had no lighters, no smoking, no nothing
Yeah.
in the plant.
So
Around.
how did you leave that job to go to the next job?
I probably just got tired of it. Hey man, you're asking me questions back 50 years ago.
That's the idea.
That's
That's the idea. So you left the powder factory. Did somebody tell you about another job somewhere, or you found out about another job?
Have no idea.
Don't remember that.
Virginia, did Helen and Weldon, when you went to Allentown, did Weldon take you to Allentown? Because he was dating Helen at the time.
Yeah, but I didn't work up there. Yeah,
You did work there.
I was a welder.
Yeah. You said you was, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
tell me
man,
about that. Tell me how you learned how to weld.
Well, they put me there with a rod and a welding thing and told me to weld. You just sit there and you just practice until you learned how. And that was arc welding.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, with a stick called stick welding.
Hmm.
And I worked on ships then.
Big ships?
Yeah, big
Like
ships.
the aircraft
Work on-
carriers.
I worked on the deck, you know, welding the deck on the ships.
Wow. Were there a lot of women welding then?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There was
Lots
a
of
lot.
you,
Yeah,
huh?
because see, your men was all going to service
Yeah.
then, so that's about all they had was women to
Yeah.
do the work.
Yeah.
So then I left, and I guess when selling these from there, didn't I?
No, you went to the Navy Yard, didn't you? From Allentown.
Well, now, when did you guys start working together?
Oh, we never really worked
We
together.
never worked together.
Oh, yeah, we did in the supply department, there at the end of the war. Now I forgot what the question was, I was gonna tell.
How did you guys first start working together? Were you friends in high school before the war?
Oh heaven, no, I didn't know her in high school.
Well, when did you meet?
Selling these, wasn't it?
No, in the dormitory,
Where?
where everybody.
Oh, dormitories down in
worked in the
Virginia.
yard, lived in a dormitory, old naval dormitory.
Yeah.
Now, where was the naval?
And she had a roommate, and I had a roommate.
Yeah.
I didn't even know her then,
No.
yeah.
Well, where was the naval dormitory that everybody
Right
lived in?
outside the Navy Yard,
No.
And the
right
Navy Yard
outside the
was
gate.
was that in Norfolk?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth,
Nobody
Virginia.
had alarm clocks. When they blow the bugle at 6 o'clock to get the Marines
You got up by the
That's how
bugle.
we got up.
You got up with the Marines.
That's how we got up.
Yeah.
Nobody had alarm clock.
So the shift at work started pretty early? You worked first shift?
7, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I was a welder there. I was an arc welder there.
So all these women were living in this dormitory. Were you friends?
Navy
And
Yard.
in the Navy
They all
Yard.
worked
Navy
Yeah.
Yard.
So did you
They,
guys?
they was two to a room, wasn't
Two
it?
to a room?
It was two in
It was
our
two
the
big
room I was in.
buildings,
I don't.
Yeah.
Who did
So-
you room with?
With Marie Breeding. And
Uh-huh.
Dan and Mert lived together because they were on
Yeah,
second
I-
shift
well,
and
see,
Marie
I-
and I were on first shift.
I moved, lived with Jean
Yeah.
in the room with Jean. Jean Arlene Foster, was that her last
Yeah.
name? Lord have mercy, young, that's been 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to know.
So did you guys have any what did you do together for fun? Did you have any sports teams?
Square dancing.
Square dancing.
No,
What was the
Virginia.
nightlife like in the 40s?
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Virginia, you played on the softball
I
team.
had, yeah, I softball,
Okay, because I
yeah.
thought I remembered seeing you in pictures
Yeah.
playing
Oh, yeah.
softball.
Yeah.
So the people that worked together had ball teams and played with each other?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember what the name of your team was? No? Wasn't the Welderettes or anything like
no
that?
good, I guess. No good team.
Well, and you said the nightlife in the 40s was good. Tell us about that.
Oh, going out to parties and dancing and drinking a little beer.
Square dancing.
Square
Didn't
dance.
Square dance.
Square dancing.
No,
and
didn't
slow
square dance in
dancing.
the 40s.
Yeah.
Not in the 40s.
Meet all kind of good looking men.
Is that
Go
right?
to
Yeah.
movies and.
So if this was a port, then the sailors would come in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
lots of sailors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I dated was singing.
Yeah. And they would take you out, and the nightlife was fun.
Yeah.
I guess in the clubs then they had live music, didn't
Oh,
they?
yeah. Yeah.
And now, see, I didn't know her too well then.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't either, but
Yeah,
I'm
we-
saying, you wanna know what you did, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same old
So what
stuff.
kind of music did they play in these nightclubs?
Like orchestras, like Glenn Miller and
Oh,
all
wow.
those, you know. Now, they weren't there, but I mean, that's the kind of music they played.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Do you remember the names of any of the places?
No.
No.
All I know is I went to I was dating this guy, and I went to the officers' club, and that's the only place that I can remember.
Adam's making up his own sign language over here.
You ain't a getting to.
So how long did you work at the Navy Yard?
I don't know.
Oh,
Do you know, Edna, how many years you spent at the Navy Yard?
I know when I started, in 43, in February 43, after the war started, December of 42.
Well, you
Okay.
start. See, I didn't get out of high school till 42.
Yeah, you got, when the war started.
Yeah.
So the war broke out not too long after you graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how old was your brother when he went in the service?
Oh, he probably 18.
18. Wow.
He's a couple years older than me.
Yeah. Where was he stationed?
He was stationed a long time in Texas.
But he served under Patton.
Huh?
Weldon served under Patton.
Oh, Weldon. I'm talking about Harry.
Oh.
Yeah, Weldon. He served under Patton, so he was overseas.
Did he? What theater was he in? Was he in
I have no idea.
Europe, Africa, Europe?
Europe.
Patton
Europe.
was in Europe. Wow. Wow.
Let's
So
talk about the 50s.
okay.
Korean War. Any impact there?
Yeah, I can hear.
The Korean War happened in the 50s then, after World War II ended.
Yeah.
Were you still working at the shipyard then, or you had moved on to work somewhere else?
Here,
50.
Oh, you came up here.
yeah.
And then when the Korean War started, did you keep working on military contracts? Who was your
We
employer
were
when
working military contracts
North
here.
American.
you were at North
Yeah,
American?
North
Yeah.
American.
So what kind of jobs did you do at North American then?
I was a welder. What was you, Edna?
Welder over there.
Was you?
It was aircraft.
Aircraft.
welder.
Yeah.
So during the Korean War, you probably made like fighter planes and things like that?
Yeah, they was fighter planes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember, well, like B-52s or what?
52. Yeah.
B-52s.
Yeah,
Okay, so
B-52.
you worked on B-52s. Wow.
And then out at Midland and Ross, we worked on that. Well, this is getting way ahead. I'm not going to tell you that. Go ahead.
That's a way ahead.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of you.
What about the whole communism thing?
I'm here.
Communism, the whole communism thing in McCarthy. Do you remember when that all happened? When that was all going on and people were being blacklisted?
Because I had brothers in it. Tudor and Weldon.
Now, you didn't understand the question, Virginia.
Do what?
Ask her again, Paul.
When McCarthy was going after people who they suspected to be communists,
Oh.
Reds.
the Reds, you remember when that stuff happened?
No.
No? Do you, Edna?
I remember some of it, not a whole lot. I
No,
know
yeah.
Frank Sinatra was one of them, and who else? Some of them, I
Well, there were a lot of
remember
actors and writers that were
Yeah.
blacklisted
Yeah.
then, and
right.
What did they do now?
there were a lot of writers and actors, people in Hollywood, and all kinds of people that
Yeah.
got accused of being communists and had their careers ruined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wondered if you remembered any of that, what it was like then. Did you know anybody who had a bomb shelter? Wasn't that during the time that they were building bomb shelters because they thought the Reds were going to nuke everybody?
Not that I know of.
You didn't.
That was in
Nothing.
the '60s. That all that bomb shelter scare stuff.
Looks like we're up to the 60s with my questions. Let's talk about the space race.
The space race, the race to the moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
Lord.
that-
What did you think about that?
I thought they'd never make it. I didn't think they'd ever make it.
Yeah.
Like my mother. She didn't believe in it.
What did she say?
Huh?
What
She
did
said
she
they'd
say?
never make it.
Said if they did, it'd be the end of the
That's
time.
right,
It'd
be in
the end of
time.
the
She
world.
said she believed that if man went to the moon, it would be the end of time.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, did that happen after she had passed on? Or was she alive when that happened?
They were working on it because I know
They-
Virginia's brother and her used to get into big. They
argued
about
all
this
the
kind
time.
of stuff.
Which brother?
Well,
Weldon. No.
Yeah.
He was in the Air Force?
no, he worked. He was the fourth one that got hired at Kennedy.
Air
Down
Force
in-
Base.
Oh, he was the
Florida.
fourth one who got hired at Kennedy?
Air
Yeah.
Force.
Wow. So he really supported the space program.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
then his mother thought it was terrible. So they would get
She didn't think it was terrible, but she
She just didn't think he'd do it. I mean, she just didn't believe in it.
It'd be the end of time.
the
That's
end
right.
of time.
She was an old-timey believer, you know.
Yeah.
She's a hard shell
No,
Baptist.
I had
a hard shell Baptist. Now tell me about what being a hard shell
I'm only
Baptist.
kidding.
Oh,
I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
She's a Baptist.
yeah.
And, well, she was hard shell Baptist.
No.
That's what they called it.
No,
Yeah.
she wasn't Virginia.
Well, do you
Just regular
remember?
Baptist.
Was it something that they talked about at church?
No.
Did they talk about?
It was Bible. It was Bible, and nothing other than Bible was ever taught.
So they didn't really talk about current events or
No.
current politics in
No,
church.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So there
No.
weren't people who thought it was anti-religious
Yeah.
for them to be trying to go.
Yeah. They wasn't looking forward. They was, right then was what was what.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you kind of wish it was like that again still?
I believe it'd be better.
Yeah.
I think the world would be better
Yeah.
if people saw just what it is now and believe in it instead of looking to the future for something.
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes think politics and churches have gotten way too mixed up together.
That's
but
right. I don't like that.
yeah.
I do
Well,
not
so talk about then.
Big assassinations.
Oh my gosh.
King assassination.
Well, start with Kennedy.
Well, I have them both on there. I wasn't really sure which one came first.
Do you remember where you were? What were you doing when Kennedy
Boy, I
was
know.
shot?
I know what I was doing. See if Virginia knows what she's doing.
No, I don't know.
You don't remember? Where were you, Edna,
I
when
was
Kennedy
sitting-
was
I
shot?
was sitting on Elburn Avenue in Cat and Tommy's living room, and Patsy was doing my hair, and it had television on, and it's, you know, the news flash came on
Yeah.
and said Kennedy was assassinated.
Oh, and what happened then? What was the reaction?
Oh, sad. Everybody was sad, you know. It's
What?
terrible.
He hadn't been president for very long, really, had he? Hmm.
No.
Well, he was the one that really pushed for the
Yeah.
move
He
into
was a
outer
good-
space and everything.
Yeah. He was a good president.
He was a good president.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. What did you think about Jackie then? Was she
I-
someone that everybody admired?
Oh,
Who?
yes.
Jackie, his
Oh,
wife.
yeah, Lord,
Yeah.
yeah. Mom said she run it.
Yeah. She was a classy lady.
Yeah,
she
she
was.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, people after you get, say, 80, 85, your mind goes. I don't remember.
Oh,
I don't
Virginia, you're
remember.
doing pretty good.
You're remembering a lot.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
yeah, I've lost a lot
Yeah,
too. I've
yeah.
lost a lot.
Well, you know, that starts really early, though.
Huh?
Losing memory. About in your 30s is when you start losing your memory. Yeah.
Back in the oh Lord.
I know. So it's a long, slow process.
Well, Virginia, I know where you were when you were working at North American. You were on first shift. I know where you
Well,
were.
now North American. No.
Yes, you were. You was working first shift, and I was on second shift. Yeah.
I'm talking about the
Well,
first job I had. The first job I ever
He
had.
already done through that. He's already got through
Yeah.
that.
Well, tell me, how did you guys get to be roommates? You didn't room together in the dormitory. How did you get to be roommates?
Well,
Now
see,
that
Virginia can tell you. How did we get to be roommates?
are we?
Well, I think you have been for a while. How did that all come
Well,
about?
the dormitory closed down, and Nan had already gone home, and Marie, the girl I was rooming with, left. So it was Virginia and me and Mert got an apartment.
So there were 3 of you in the first
Yeah.
apartment. Okay.
And
I
Mert
thought.
got mad
Well,
at
Jane
us.
was my roommate then.
I'm talking
Wasn't?
about after the dormitory.
When they
Oh,
closed
okay,
the
okay.
dormitory and you
Okay.
had to get an apartment. So then
Okay.
it was the only ones left in the dormitory were you and Edna and Mert.
No, they closed the whole thing.
They
Everybody
closed
had
the
to-
dormitory.
Everybody
Okay.
had to do well.
So then
And-
you got your first apartment.
Yeah. And Virginia and I had a date. We're going hunting with these two guys.
What were their names?
Good Lord. Can't even remember their names.
What were you hunting?
I don't know. We didn't
Bear.
Bear.
We didn't never get there. We got stuck in a cabbage patch, old rotten cabbage patch. We go get the farmer to pull us out. We never did go hunting.
How did you get stuck in a cabbage patch?
Going down an old country road.
No country
Your
road.
car got
And the
stuck in a
cabbage
cabbage
was
patch.
rotten.
Car got stuck in the cabbage. Rotten
Oh gosh! So you had to go get the farmer to help you get the car out of the cabbage patch.
And I mean to tell you, there was odor to it.
Oh, I
too.
bet. I bet it smelled
Rotten
awful.
cabbage.
You know what? I cannot remember them guys' names.
So anyway, so there were 3 of you that shared an
Oh
apartment.
yeah, but we did, and like I say, we had a date and we was gonna go hunting, and Mert wanted to stay home and clean the apartment. We said no, we're going out. We're not cleaning no apartment today. And she got mad and left.
So that was how it was just the
She
2 of
left-
you after
she
that.
left and came back to Lynchburg, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
So
So then it was just the 2 of you.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what that first apartment was like. What was it like?
nice, and we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have no alarm clock, and the landlady and the landlord lived upstairs. We had the downstairs.
So it was like a duplex with
Yeah.
one apartment up
Right.
on the top and
Was that
another on
in
the bottom?
Princeton?
No, that's on 4th Street in
Oh,
Portsmouth.
okay.
Portsmouth, okay.
But anyway, we didn't, I said we didn't have no alarm clock, so he had to get up to go to work, and pipes that came down, he'd knock on them pipes and wake us up for morning.
Yeah. Did you
No,
have
I
steam heat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long did you live in that little apartment? Was it, how big was it? Were there 2 bedrooms,
2
3?
bedrooms, yeah, and a kitchen and a living room,
Yeah,
whole downstairs.
yeah.
Well, now I didn't start living with you though until we moved to Princeton, did I?
No, they're in at the apartment.
Did you have indoor plumbing?
Oh, yeah,
So you had a bathroom?
yeah.
You didn't have to go out to the outhouse?
Oh, gosh.
Oh no,
No,
we
no.
lived in town.
Okay. So everybody in town had indoor, because I remember when they first put indoor plumbing in at, where did we go?
Oh, no.
Not at
Oh,
Mildred's,
so-
at
Oh, you
your
had feet
sister.
there. At my sister's,
yeah.
at Nora's, or
No. Where did we always stay when we went to Virginia?
Bess.
At Bessie's house.
Right.
I remember what a big deal it was when she got indoor plumbing and we didn't have to use the outhouse anymore.
Yeah,
So I didn't know if everybody had outhouses then or just the country people did.
yeah.
Okay.
Had you ever been up home then, up to my home?
One time. Yep. I've been to the old home place one time.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to go to Battle Creek a lot.
To where?
Camp Creek.
To Camp
Camp
Creek. Not Battle Creek, Camp Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when my teddy bear got flushed
Yeah.
down the toilet?
Yeah.
And I saw him in the creek and you told me he went to the Happy Hunting Ground?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mildred did that.
Yeah. I remember that. Oh, that was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Well, so
But Paula came home and she told me that was the neatest place in the world. Said she got to take a bath in the creek. Mildred would give them all the towel and the washer. I can tell them go to the
You
creek.
go to the
and-
creek and
and
take a bath.
take a bath.
In the summertime, yeah. And save water.
So, from the little apartment in Portsmouth, how did you wind up in Ohio?
Well, I tell you, we came to Radford. Virginia, you're supposed to be doing this.
Well, you can both do it.
Yeah.
So you came to Radford.
To her brother's, where she originally started from.
Okay.
So, and then her brother said they were hiring at the Celanese plant. So he took us over there, and we were in there forever and ever, and there was a whole bunch of people in there. So I went up to the desk and I told him, I said, we got to go. I told him just, we wasn't going to wait for an interview because we had a man outside waiting for us, and we had to go. He said, no, don't go. I'm going to bring you and Virginia in right now. So he took us in, had all them people and gave us a job.
As a welder?
No,
No.
No. What were you doing there?
it's textile.
Textile.
Making yarn.
Okay.
Making yarn.
So you had machines that you operated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, was there a union then?
Yeah. No, we didn't, because the guy got fired. He tried to get a union, and they fired him.
Wow. So do you remember like when they were first trying to organize unions and all of that?
No, just that one incident.
Yeah.
And then when we came up here, they had unions.
Yeah. Well, in West Virginia there were coal miners, right?
Yeah.
Lots of
Oh,
coal
yeah.
miners. Do you remember what was happening in the news, like when the coal miners were trying to organize and?
No, because I didn't. I had one brother-in-law that worked in the coal mines. None of my family works in them.
Really?
Yeah.
So just a brother-in-law.
Yeah. That was Paul.
Yeah.
Chestnut of them never worked in coal mines.
Lemuel did.
Huh?
So he didn't really
Yeah,
work, but he
right.
hauled timber into the mines.
Yeah. But none of my family worked in the mines.
Yeah. What was your next question, Adam? I know
Hippies.
Hippies. Oh, talk
Hippies.
about the hippies.
Ooh. Yeah, Paula tells all about
Well,
the hippies.
I was just little. You guys talk about what you thought about the hippies and what you saw on TV and everything when the.
Well, I know we had at home, and Lord have mercy, it must have been in the 40s when television first come out. We had a television, and our neighbors would come in and just get one station and sit there and watch it. And it wouldn't be nothing on it.
What do you remember watching on TV when you first got your first TV?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember? Did you watch show
Oh,
of
it
shows?
was-
Wrestling?
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Big
That's
time
what
wrestling
Gold-
was on
That's
TV.
what Goldie loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, Lord, that was
You
back
know what
in
the
the
first
50s.
one
Rollerball.
First TV show I saw was Punch and Judy show. It was a little
Puppets.
puppets
Yeah.
Puppet show.
up on
Huh.
East River Mountain. That
Huh.
was the first television program I ever saw.
Wow.
And you couldn't hardly see it. You had to really look because there was a
Yeah.
lot of snow on.
Well, now before TV, did you listen to the radio a lot?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Played
yeah,
records.
radio. Radio was a thing. It's gone all day long.
What did you like on the radio?
Rock and
Country
roll.
music.
I didn't call.
We
Rock
did,
and
we
roll.
did at home. You could hear it all over the house.
Did you listen to any of the programs though, like
A
the
preacher or things like that.
preachers?
Yeah, my dad and mother listened to that. Us kids didn't.
I used
But
to,
things like Amos and Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Amos
yes.
and Andy.
and
Little
I
Orphan
get them on
Annie.
television. You got Amos and Andy on television.
I know I couldn't hardly wait to get home and had to hurry. This is during the war to watch Just Plain Bill. That was a show, and it was
Just
all,
Plain
I
Bill.
never
What
heard
was
of
that?
I really don't know. I don't even remember, but I know it was on every week, and I'd hurry home from work so I could listen to it on the
Yeah.
radio. Just Plain
I know
Bill.
that we was the only one that had a television, and 2 or 3 of the neighbors would come in
Yeah.
every weekend to watch television.
Yeah.
A Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Who was on the Grand Ole Opry then?
Good grief, I don't know.
Minnie
They're
Pearl.
probably all
Minnie
dead
Pearl
now.
and Roy A. Cup,
Jax Ritter and Green Bean.
Bill Monroe,
String Bean.
String
Yeah,
Bean,
now back in the
yeah,
40s. That
and
was a long time ago.
Grandpa Jones.
oh yeah.
Grandpa Jones, yeah.
So what's your next question, Adam?
70s.
The 70s. Well, I remember that part.
You remember that, don't you?
Yeah.
You probably remember it better than we do.
Probably.
The
Well,
70s.
maybe.
yeah.
Freaky
Was you
looking
down home?
teenagers everywhere.
Do what?
The 70s.
Hippies.
Freaky looking teenagers everywhere. Long haired, hoodlum looking things. Earrings, ponytails,
Polyester.
sideburns, polyester,
Yeah.
platform shoes,
Pantsuits.
Well, what were you guys up to in the 70s?
leisure suits.
They were working. Where did you work in the 70s? Were you at Midland Ross then or North
Yeah,
American?
Midland
Ross.
Well,
Welding.
Yeah.
And who did you work with out there? Do you remember? Did you have friends
oh yeah,
from work?
yeah. Had Sally Coleman,
Virginia Evans.
Virginia Evans, and Irma Bazzuti, and Irma McLaughlin, and
About all them are dead.
I don't know.
You know?
a whole bunch of women.
Mm-hmm.
We had more women than we did men out there.
Yeah.
Almost all, you know what, most of them were black. Most of them were all black. And Virginia Evans said, when she started to work out there, and the whole line was black, and said visitors would come in, and when they get to her, they'd stop and look at her. Well, what are you doing here with all these black people?
Well, do you remember integration, like when that all first started? Because, you know, down south you couldn't even ride a bus. If you were
Yeah.
black, you had to ride in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
What was your experience of that like?
Oh, listen, this one girl, Marie, you know, I told you my friend Marie, we were going to get the bus to go to work in the Navy Yard, and the bus stopped, and there was black people moved up 2 or 3 seats, and she told that bus driver, she said, I'm not getting on that bus till you put them SBs back in the bus. Man, they was coming off that bus after us, and I said, Marie, you're crazy. And I ran. I thought, you stupid.
Well, I guess I can't blame them for being mad.
Why,
though.
no,
no.
they should have come off her and got her. They should have come off her and beat the tar out of her for saying that. 'Cause I didn't mistreat nobody. I don't care what color they were or what, you know.
But things
But you
changed a
know-
lot when, right? I mean,
Yeah,
did they change more up north than they did down south, do you think?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The South was hard to see the difference. You know.
I tell you, Bluefield, West Virginia's first time I ever used a bathroom with the blacks.
What year was that?
In the 50s,
Early 50s.
Wow.
maybe late 49.
So before that, whenever you'd go to use a public restroom, there was one for black people and one for white people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And water
And
fountains.
drinking fountains.
Water fountains, you drink out of different fountains.
And I tell you, we had one girl in the Navy Yard when I worked in the machine shop when I first started work. Had this one girl, and she had real pretty blonde curly hair, but she kept it greased down all the time. And I asked her, I don't even remember her name, but anyway, I asked her one time, I said, how come you put all that old grease on your hair? You have beautiful hair. Well, she said, well, I don't know, my mother, we always put it on her hair. Come to find out, she was black.
So did she have one white parent and one black parent?
No, I think she was an albino.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But anyway, they found out, how they found out, they called her in the office and asked her why she was riding with that station wagon full of black people. And she told them, well, I am black.
Wow.
And they fired her.
Wow.
They fired her.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
No, that wasn't
And
right.
yeah, and
Now,
you know
where did that
what?
happen?
That was in the Navy Yard. And her and I, you know what, I was good to that girl. I talked to her. And then after they fired her, they'd kid me, they'd say, and they eat apples with her. Said she'd take a bite and Ed didn't take a bite. Just because I was nice to her.
So you got teased about
Yeah.
being friends with her.
Yeah.
Mm. Wow. So
Yeah.
they could fire you
Yeah.
for being black.
Because she wasn't allowed to work on the floor other than to clip sweepers. That's on blacks we had. Even during the war, they couldn't work. Only thing they could do is janitors work.
Yeah. Well, even the black soldiers, you know,
Yeah.
they would come back and they still had to
Yeah.
sweep the floors and clean
Yeah.
the toilets, and they weren't allowed to, even
I
when
tell
they
you,
were
Eleanor
veterans.
Roosevelt got that straightened up for the servicemen, though.
Yeah. Tell me about Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, I thought she was wonderful. Like I said, she's the one who went down in Georgia to where all those black people were, black soldiers, you know, army. And she said, why are we wasting all this down here? Why don't we send these boys, put them in action where they're supposed to be? And she did. Some of them were pilots, good pilots.
Yeah.
But they wasn't allowed to do it.
Well, Eleanor Roosevelt was kind of controversial, wasn't she? A lot of people didn't like her.
Well, you know why they didn't like her? That was the reason. Right there was one of the reasons they didn't like her, because she gave the blacks, she wanted the blacks to have equal
She wanted
rights.
equal rights for all.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they think that the wife of a president really shouldn't be making
Oh, yeah.
policy, and
Right,
that she was?
right.
Well, they probably
She
think
should
that's
have
still
been-
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. They thought she should be making tea and cookies and
Yeah.
She
doing
didn't.
genteel lady things.
Well, she didn't do it anyway.
She
was out
run
and
it.
Traveled.
Eleanor Roosevelt run it, but old Franklin didn't. I think
Well, I
she
don't
was
know.
the
I
one
think
that had her
Franklin
say.
did. I think he did run it.
Well,
He ran but she helped him. Like stuff, like getting them black people out of Georgia and putting them in
Yeah.
where they should have been all along. And she did stuff like that. I don't think she helped run the country. Other than that, though.
Well, she told him how to run it.
But I tell you one
I believe
thing.
she was smarter than he was.
Hey, I helped with the election down home. And we had a garage. You
Which
know,
election?
Roosevelt. And
You campaigned for
Hoover.
Roosevelt?
Yeah, when Hoover was in. Well, anyway, the missionary women at church, on election day, they always fix this baked chicken pie. And I fixed a big dinner, and they sold it to all these people. Broadford, that's where they came all around there to vote. So they'd sell this food to all these people that come in there. And I remember coming home at night, and I didn't even know Hoover from Jackrabbit. But anyway, that's who it was. And when I come home, Daddy said, well, who won the election? I said, Roosevelt. I hadn't even been elected. You know, it took forever to count the votes at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
So the election would happen, and then how long would it be before you knew who the winner was?
Probably 2 or 3 days.
Really?
But
Wow.
he
That
did.
kind of
I'm
way.
telling you, Roosevelt's one who got us out of this mess we've been in.
Yeah. You
'Cause
think
he
so?
He started at 3Cs, and he started WPA, and all them jobs. My brothers.
Well,
that's
there was
where
people
Bud lost
starving
his
to death
thumb.
back then until
Yeah.
he started that.
Yeah.
Do you see any parallels between then and now? Like, there's a lot of talk about the Republican Party trying to get rid of all those programs. Do you see any similarities between then and now? Does Bush remind you of Hoover?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's about like, yeah, he is.
Well, they should put them to work now. Where back then there wasn't no work for them to do, where there is work for them to do now. They should make them work now for their
Yeah.
living. Where back then they needed help.
Yeah. So you think
You
there's plenty of jobs?
Well,
Now-
there's not plenty, but there's enough, for a person to make a living. Back then there wasn't.
Yeah.
Back 30, 40 years ago, there just wasn't no work
Yeah.
for anything for a person to do. But now they can do something, enough to live on, put it
You
that
think?
way.
You think people can make enough to live on now? If they have to work minimum wage or?
No, I don't think so. No.
Huh.
That's the reason why I got all these people on welfare, because they can live on welfare.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot on welfare that shouldn't be on there too.
Well, that's true too.
Well, I agree. I think people should work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's people
That's-
that need help, and then
We're
you've got
just
a lot
getting
of
way
people
off,
that
aren't we?
don't need help. That's for sure.
Let's talk about some important dates.
Oh my.
Now, what's
The
important?
29th of October, 1983.
Oh my
About
goodness.
what?
talk about
Must have been
October 29th,
Halloween.
1983.
Halloween.
1983.
The day Adam came into the world.
Oh, okay. I said Halloween. Yeah.
Is that
Talk
when
about-
he? That when he came in?
That was when Adam was born. Talk about that day.
Oh my goodness. I walked to floor waiting. And didn't hear nothing from Mike, and I went down to the hospital, and he came down, and he said that you still hadn't gone in for cesarean yet, but anyway, you're still in labor. And I said, well, can I go up? And he said, no. And I said, well, shit, why can't I go up? And Mike said, Edna. I was so mad because they wouldn't let me go up there. And then had C-section. Little old Adam come out there with all them old wires, and his little old chest going up and down like this, breathing real hard. I didn't think he's ever going to make it. I really didn't think Adam was going to live.
Yeah.
None of us did. And then one night when I came down to visit Paula and you, and everybody stopped to look at you, and I went on down to the room with Paula, and she's laying there just like this shaking in the bed. And I called the nurses real quick, and she had that, what was it you got? Where Adam had
Septicemia. I had septic thrombophlebitis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got real sick.
Yeah. But you sure was a pretty baby though.
So as soon as you came out of intensive care, I went in,
Yeah, right,
basically.
right.
Was Richard Nixon a crook?
I think Reagan was a good president.
What do you think
I thought he was too old. I didn't vote for him because I said the man's too old.
Yeah. What do you think he did that was good?
Well, I think he brought that Berlin Wall down, and I think he helped with other countries. What am I trying to say?
Foreign policy?
Yeah, yeah. Don't you?
No, I didn't like Reagan.
Didn't?
No.
Well, I liked him all right. I did like him. Okay.
No, he's the guy that when Jimmy Carter, he was beating up on Jimmy Carter because of the Iran hostage crisis and was secretly selling arms to Iran to fund the war against the Contras in South America, which was illegal. Well, that was pretty awful, I think,
Yeah.
for them to do that. So, no, he wasn't my favorite president. I
He
didn't
wasn't
like
much
Well,
him
he
at all.
wasn't my favorite, but I think he did do a lot of good things, though. I really do. I think he did better than I thought he would. Anyway, that's the reason I guess I thought he did okay, because he did better.
He probably did the best he could, put it that way.
The
With the
90s.
situation.
The
as it
90s.
was.
The 90s. Well, when did you retire? What year?
When did I retire? I haven't retired yet.
You haven't
I'm
retired
still-
yet?
I retired in 42, wasn't it?
What year did you guys retire?
I didn't. Virginia retired before I did. She retired when she was 62. So how old would she have been?
Yeah. So
What
how
year
old
would
was
that
it?
have been?
Well,
I retired in 60. I retired in 86 and she retired in 87. I waited till 60.
60.
I
You
left
retired
at
even younger.
Adam asked me when they asked me, said, Edna, where do you get your money from? And I said, I'm retired. He said, oh, good, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up.
Is that what you were doing, Adam? That's
Well,
what
you
you
know,
said?
I did just quit a couple of jobs. So.
So you retired.
Did you watch
I
Friends?
guess I retired at 62.
Yeah, Virginia did retire at 62.
So what was retirement like then? What did you start doing? Do you remember? What was like the first thing you did after you retired?
Purely nothing.
Purely nothing.
Purely nothing.
Didn't you start to travel a little
Oh,
bit?
yeah, I guess, I went home quite a bit.
Well,
then,
we
back
started
then.
going to Florida
Going
and down to
Florida,
Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach. And
You were down Long Beach and Adam.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a fun vacation.
Yeah, that's a fun place. And
Yeah, it's nice.
they still have it. Hurricane hadn't blown it away.
yeah, and I been down to London several times with Neil.
We were down at the pool, or Virginia was down at the pool there in Florida, and she came back to the house and she said, "Why more women down there?" Said they were talking about being all these different countries they'd been in. Randy said, "Well, why didn't you tell them you just left London?"
London, Kentucky.
Yeah. Gosh.
But it was fun though. I know.
So
when
what would you say if you had to give advice to a young person? Say you were giving Adam advice. After 85 years on this earth, you've learned a lot of things. What would be the biggest piece of advice you would give him or any young person now? What would you tell them about getting ready for retirement?
Well, I'd tell him to do the job the best he could,
Mm-hmm.
and to stay with it and stick with it
Yeah.
as long as he could.
Yeah. What do you think about him going back to school?
yeah. I think it's wonderful.
Well, I'll tell you, your school, your jobs, a lot of jobs offers good schooling in the trade that you're in. Maybe get in a good trade.
Yeah,
Something,
skilled trade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that was good. Electrical work or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that's going to go on. It's
Right.
Not, it's
You're
not
always
going
going to have people here who know how to fix things and make things.
Yeah, it's not going to stop. It's something that goes on, but just piddling around jobs, you got plenty of people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs
So you'd
to,
say educate yourself as much as you
yeah,
can.
educated in job to look forward to,
Yeah.
not the one that's already gone.
Yeah.
And you know
That's
what
what I'd say.
they say too. I don't know what they said. If you'd save so much money just a small amount of money, if you'd save out of every check every week, gosh,
You'd
I
be
think
surprised
you'd
how
have.
much.
I think like $1 million.
And the most important thing in life, be honest. Be honest with yourself and other people, and you'll get along.
Yeah.
You've got to be honest.
What do you think was your favorite decade? Like, some people look back and they say, "Oh, being in my 30s was great. Being in my 40s was the best." From this vantage point looking back, what do you think was your favorite decade?
I think it's right now.
Yeah.
I think it's right now. I think I know to trust God to do things for me, and I know He will. And I love the people that I know.
Yeah.
And I really think right now is my best decade.
That's a good answer.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah. All right, now that's me.
Yeah. Well, that's the way to look. That's the way to do
Yeah,
it, I think.
right. Yeah.
Don't you think it's better to go through life with a optimistic attitude? You know,
Yeah.
and try
Well,
to
that, like I say, I know where I'm going. I know I got something better waiting on me
be. Yeah.
one of these days. I don't know when. That's not my worry.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just know. So why worry about it?
Yeah.
Enjoy it. So I enjoy it now. And Edna, I got Edna to work for me. And honest to goodness, no, I couldn't do without Edna. A lot of things she does for me, things that I can't do. And I hope she feels like the same way about me, thinks that I would do things for her that she
Only
can't
trouble
do.
I have with Virginia is taking her medicine. I say, Virginia, did you take your medicine? Yes, I took my medicine. She ain't took it.
Well, when you bought that house back in the 60s,
Yeah.
Way back
it was
there.
unusual for a woman to buy a house then, wasn't it? Did you have trouble getting financing and stuff?
No, me, Kat, and Virginia was going to buy a house. So we went out looking. And, well, Carl Martin really was one, kept saying, buy your house, don't be paying all this rent. So anyway, we started looking for a house. We found it. And Gil was doing some paperwork in the kitchen. And I rang a doorbell and I asked him, I said, could we see the house? No realtor, nothing. He said, sure, go ahead and look. So we did. Got the name of the realtor over on Hamilton Road. Went
Now,
over
wasn't
there.
that house just built?
3 years old.
Oh, okay.
So when
So you didn't actually build it. It was there, but it was a very new house.
Yeah.
No, there's one man and his mother died. Wasn't it? Didn't she
Yeah.
die? Him and his mother lived in it.
Yeah.
But we went over to see the realtor, and the realtor started writing up the papers, and she said, well, whose name now is this house going to go in? And Dean said, it ain't going in my name. And Kat said, I'm not putting it in my name. And I said, I'll put it in my name then. Nell said, Edna, you're the gambler, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of a gamble then.
Yeah. And got
I mean,
laid,
really, there weren't that many women buying
and
houses.
I got laid off.
How long was it after you bought the house that
About
you
a
got laid
month.
off? Oh,
About a
how
month got
awful.
laid off. But, no, talking about finances though. Carl went over to the bank with me to, he was going to co-sign for us to buy the house. And he told the man, he said, I'll co-sign for her. And he looked at Carl and he looked at me, he said, she don't need nobody to co-sign.
Wow.
Buy
That's
it on
great.
her own.
Now, how much did you have to come up with for a down payment then?
Well, I didn't have to, but at 5,000. Then we only owed 10.
Wow.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Lord, I think we paid it off in about 2 years, 3
Yeah.
years, didn't we?
Really? You paid it off in how long?
It wasn't long because we doubled up on our
We made
payments.
Wow,
payment.
that's
Ed made a
great.
payment, I paid a payment.
Very little interest they got, I'm telling you.
Huh?
Wow.
Very little interest.
No, we didn't pay no
Well,
interest.
see,
for
to a working you could do that.
Yeah.
a penny for my thoughts. Well, I tell you one thing, people. When your age starts getting up in the 80s, 85, 86, starts to go. And I don't know of anybody that it hasn't went on. I mean, all my parents, I remember, when they got old, their thoughts weren't the same.
Yeah.
But you know
And
what?
it's a shame that they don't come up with something that you can keep your memories.
Well, they are
Yeah.
working on
Got you covered.
Well, that's the whole point of doing this part, I think, you know. So these things are things that we'll never forget about.
it. Yeah.
Go.
Happy birthday to you.
Me,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ginny. Happy birthday to you. Yay! a wish and blow them out.
Okay.
And don't spit, and I like this woman said, now don't spit on the cake either.
Don't drop your teeth in the
We
cake.
should have got 85 candles.
You know what, we did, a woman at church, and Gloria told me to go up and get, see when they were ready.
All right.
When you put 3, you're guaranteed to get your wish.
Oh, is that right? Well, I tell you, I hope my wish does come true.
That's a trick.